it's Simone, and thank you so much for painting with me today. We're going to go ahead and take our paintbrush and just lightly wet down our canvas. This is actually going to make the colors flow and blend a little bit easier. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and take our cobalt blue, and we're going to just make some light strokes back and forth in the center of your canvas. Okay, and if you need to go ahead and add a little bit more water or paint, go ahead and do so. Okay, now you can go ahead and take some of your light blue paint and go ahead and blend it in on both sides, blending it in to the dark blue. When you're blending paints, it helps to make sure that your canvas is wet, not too wet, but just make sure that your paintbrush is wet and that your canvas is wet. It's just going to help the colors blend a little bit easier for you. And if you have to go in and add a little bit of that cobalt blue, go ahead and do so. The object here is that you want the sides to be a light blue and the center to be a darker blue, but you want the colors to blend. Okay, now I'm going back in and adding just a touch of white. Okay, now what I'm going to go ahead and do in the light blue area, I'm actually dipping a liner brush into the cobalt blue, and this is where I'm going to start the beginning of my forest. And the concept here is, in the lighter painted areas, you're using dark colored paint for the trees, and then in the center where it's a little bit darker, that's where you're going to use lighter color trees. You're doing the opposite effect. If you're not exactly sure what to do, just watch me for a few moments and then follow along. Okay, now what I'm doing, like I said, in the center where it's a little bit darker, I'm taking my light blue paint and I'm doing the same thing. And I'm actually going to start painting in a few branches. right, now what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take my blow dryer. We're going to go ahead and dry our canvas, but only on a cool setting. Or you can go ahead and take the time to go ahead and let it air dry. Okay, this next area, I kind of missed a step, but that's okay. Follow along with me and we'll fix the mistake that I made. We're going to go ahead and take our sea sponge and we're going to dip it into the dark green paint that we have. And we're actually just going to lightly coat the very bottom of our canvas, and we're going to start making the impression of trees, bushes, all those fun little things that we have in our forest. You only need to make a small area of dark green. Okay, this next area, we're actually going to start painting in our dark trees that are closest to us. So I want you to go ahead and take a thicker brush, one of your round brushes, and dip it into the black paint and just follow along like I'm doing. You're going to make a long, thick tree trunk. And then we're going to paint in just a few of our branches. Okay, now what I'm going to go ahead and do, since I had made a mistake earlier, I'm going to go ahead and take my sea sponge, dip it back into that dark green paint, and just kind of lightly touch up the bottom area where our tree trunk is. This is going to give it the illusion that it's sitting somewhere deep in our forest with all the shrubbery and everything around it. Okay, and then what you want to do is go ahead and take that same sea sponge, you don't have to clean it out, dip it into the black paint and do the same thing at the very bottom of it, just lightly blending in that black into the green. Make sure that you leave some of that green showing. This is okay. It's actually going to make your forest have a little bit of depth to it. And now we're also going to do the same thing to the very top of our tree trunks. We're going to add a little bit of that dark green and then just lightly coat it with our black. The key here is a little goes a long way. You want to make sure that you have some green showing and then just go over it very lightly with that black. Okay, now what we're going to go ahead and do is take our liner brush, dip it into the gold paint, and just make some sporadic dots, really small circles. These could be our fairies, our lightning bugs, whatever else is going on in your magical forest. The point is that you have fun with it. Okay, and the last thing you're going to do is make sure that you sign the bottom of your painting. And thank you so much for joining me today for this painting of our magical forest. I hope you had a great time. See you real soon.